are these people on the note together. So you find that if a picture is worth 1,000 words and there were 3 or 4 vignettes per paper currency note, you've got a 4,000 word short story on every note that I'm going to show you. Now this is a very finite talk, so you don't have to be antsy about it. I'm going to show you 6 South Carolina notes and 2 other notes, one from the District of Columbia and one from Maryland. And I'm going to basically tell you stories behind these notes. But to set the context for it, you have to take a look at the history of banking in the United States. We have had, from the colonial time to the start of the Civil War, 2 national banks. The first bank was chartered for 20 years, and then Congress didn't see any reason to continue it, so they ended it after the first 20 years. And then a second chartered bank from 16 to 36. And this is the one that Andrew Jackson took great pride in ending. Again, seeing no need for a national bank. So where was the banking done? The banking was done at the state level. And you can see here on this blue line the number of banks that existed as a function of time. There really wasn't a need for a lot of banking during the colonial war period. However, wars do create need for money. Paper money is easy to print and satisfy those needs. So when the War of 1812 occurred, you see a bump. And then as the country grew from like 1812 to 1859, the number of state chartered banks across the country grew to about 1,365. During this time, about 30,000 different notes, varying in color and size and character, were produced. And this was sort of the golden years of paper money in the United States. They are artistic and historic, and that's, I'm going to show you 8 of these. And the 6 South Carolina notes that I'm going to show you are all from the State Bank of South Carolina. So to get you calibrated, this is a 1855 $5 note. Now sometimes there'll be a discrepancy between what I've got written here and what you really read on the note here. And the reason for that is that I'm going to show you all these notes, and these are available to display. So all the notes in the talk are here. And the dates on top will correspond to the notes that I own. Okay, so the 1855 is the note that I own. It happens to be this note, but this happened to be a copy that was better than what I could photograph, so I used it, and it happened to be an 1860 note. Anyhow, the State Bank of South Carolina was in a building on Broad and East Bay Streets in Charleston. And this is the building here. So you can see what Charleston looked like in 1855. You see horse-drawn buggies at various places. You see some dogs playing in the street. You see a horseback rider here, maybe riding up to the bank to make a withdrawal or a deposit. And you see that because you dealt with different kinds of literacy, 5 on this $5 bill are portrayed in 3 different ways. You've got the standard 5, you got the Roman numeral 5, and then hand-stamped in red ink on top of this that leaches through the paper when you see the note is a red 5. That's make sure you understand it's a 5. These are very formal things. $5 in 1855 was a lot of money. So you'll see the cashier sign here, Bill Lee, and you see the president of the bank sign here. And you notice that the bank numbers for this note are handwritten. So this was note number 43 of $5 bills that was produced in 1860 by this Bank of South Carolina in Charleston. The preciseness of the notes is exquisite in the sense that everything that you look at on these paper notes is done as accurately, either from the standpoint of facial features or building design, as can be done by the artists of the time. And so you can see, if you compare this 1855 note to East Bay and Broad Streets in Charleston right now, there's your building with the curved front and entrance. You see this building here? It's right there. See this building right here with that cupola top? It's right there. If you didn't take, if you took the asphalt out of this, made it a dirt road, put horses there, you'd think that you were rephotographing the 1855 Newton color. That's how good this was. So anyhow, this is the bank that issued the 6 notes that I'm going to talk about. And one of the things to South Carolina's great pride should be that this bank was unique. South Carolina stood behind this bank when it was formed and said it was the fiscal agent for the state, and they chartered it in 1812, and it existed until the end of the Civil War in 1865. In a Supreme Court decision in 1865, it turns out that being the fiscal agent for the state and being wholly owned by the state meant that South Carolina and the notes that this bank produced were not allowed to default.